Another day in the NBA here, and the work begins, it always does, here on the Splash Play channel. We're today going to compare my projections to one of the industry leaders out there, our friends over at Stokastic. We'll see who the top plays are, who the top value plays are as well. We'll also go game by game. We'll check the ownership along the way, see where the leverage theoretically lies. We'll hop over to Stokastic, run a sim, see what things look like based on their top ROI lineups. I'll do a hand build. By the end of this video, guys, you will know all of the industry's must plays, along with my Splash Plays for today, April 6th, 2026. Let's get into it here. I had to run some data a couple times before the show because for some reason it's really, I think, a GitHub problem, and I might have to move off it at some point because it just drives me nuts just enough. It was not updating for Jalen Duren's projection right before the show. I guess, no, not right before, but close enough to before the show. A bunch of Pistons got downgraded. Tobias Harris, doubtful. Cade, doubtful, which, you know, I would thought he was out, but he's doubtful now. Isaiah Stewart, doubtful. So it's going to look different for Detroit, but I was getting Duren way too high. Now I've got him at a more reasonable number, so it's going to be important to talk about here. But our top projected guy for today's slate is Victor Wembanyama, facing Philadelphia here. Guy making his MVP case as of late. Big point totals as well. Wemby right now, 11.5 salary on DraftKings, 56.1 is a projection for me. A little bit lower than Stokastic. They're at 57.5. But Jalen Duren, basically the update here, with the various Pistons being unavailable, Duren's going to look a lot better. So Stokastic is not updated for that yet. I think it's going to make Duren come up for them as well as for me here. For Wemby facing Philly, should be a competitive game, and Wemby with that little chip on his shoulder to get whatever year-end outcomes, I guess, that are in range for him, or he feels like are in range for him. Certainly more of a narrative thing than the actual projection being so great. But he's a 4.9x value, obviously has a ceiling. With the field being there at 24%, though, I think that's already kind of appropriately owned. For Wemby as well, his minutes lately, 40 minutes last game. That is really noteworthy. He put up 81 fantasy points. Was that Saturday? Yeah, so for Wemby, obviously that was an overtime game as well. So in regulation, you'd have been on pace to play 35 minutes. But the fact that he can play 40 in a competitive game, Philly hangs in. That could be a thing where Wemby hits that ceiling, and both minutes-wise and fantasy-wise. But Jalen Duren's a big one here, facing Orlando today at 8,700. No Cade, no Tobias. A lot of opportunity for Jalen Duren. Let's go to the NBA Wowie real fast because I'm curious to see the rates as we get down to these smaller groups. Obviously, Duren has looked very good just with the lack of Cade, lack of Isaiah Stewart lately. So got the Knicks here, but let me pull up this tab. We're taking off Cade. Let's take off Ivy, our religious zealot friend, who's not much of a friend. So just based on how he's played this year, let alone whatever diverging beliefs. Stewart, take him off as well. All right, so this is the core group that's been out for a while. Jalen Duren putting up 1.4 fantasy points a minute on 28.6% usage, 17% rebound rate, 4 assists per 100 as well, 71% true shooting, just making everything. What if we get Tobias off? Does anything increase? Get Tobias off. You get Duren at 28.8% usage. A little bit less assists, 1.25 fantasy points a minute, so he hasn't been quite as good. Sample size drops off a lot with Tobias Harris out of the picture. Take off Duncan Robinson. He's another doubtful guy. It's probably getting too small to matter, but I'm just curious to see if there's any really good signal for Duren. He's putting up 1.29 fantasy points a minute, a little bit more assists with Duncan Robinson off the court. Usage a little bit lower, but that should stabilize as the rates go on. Point being for me is really that at 8,700, I think no matter which way you chop it up, the bigger thing being the larger sample size with no Cade, no Ivy, no Stewart. Those are all going to be the case again today. For Jalen Duren, I think that's the main thing here. If he's going to get mid-30s minutes, 8,700, I think he should be about a 50, in my case here, 53.9 fantasy point guy. Stokastic is lower because they hadn't updated for all the guys being out for Detroit yet, but you're down enough bodies now. Everything's flowing through Duren right now, and he's playing himself, according to the beat reporters there. Expectation now is he's going to get like $200 million in his next contract, which going to be one of the richest big man contracts in the NBA. He's playing for that. The one concern point would be that Detroit is clinched now. They are locked into the 1 seed, so maybe you see Duren play less minutes, getting 36 minutes of the data. Feels maybe a bit aggressive, I would say, for Jalen Duren. The last game, he was sick, played 30. Other competitive games, 36, 35. So if they're still full go and no reason to, well, I guess there is some reason to think they might not be full go, given all the guys they downgraded doubtful. Maybe don't lock in Jalen Duren despite the projection being so high. But I think with 71% sim win rate across 25% ownership, things haven't updated fully, as I mentioned with Stokastic yet. I think that he has to be in about half my lineups tonight at a minimum. And, I'm willing to go to 2/3. Like, I think Detroit being competitive at a spot against Orlando, team maybe they could face in the playoffs if things break a certain way. I just think Duren plays enough minutes to matter today, even though 36 feels a bit aggressive. Jalen Johnson, 10-5 salary here, 33 minutes projected for him. He's coming down for me a little bit minutes-wise because the minutes have been trending down somewhat down the stretch. But Atlanta, one of your best teams in the East since the All-Star break. That's continuing on here. They're facing the Knicks. Tough matchup on paper with their low pace and good defense, but still a spot that should be playoff-style basketball. And as we always talk about on here, having that kind of playoff situation can mean sometimes these teams beat out the Vegas total. The offense flows a little bit better than expected. For Jalen Johnson, though, only 10% owned by the field. I'm getting 11. Do think he has a ceiling here, but the projection being only a 4.4x value for me. I'm a little bit behind Stokastic there. Guys like Jalen Duren now being a much more viable option to go to instead of spending my salary. 10-5 on Jalen Johnson. I think it's a little bit easier to go to fellow Jalen Duren. But really hard to critique Jalen Johnson given the ceiling. I think if I were paying up for a guy that expensive, though, I'd probably take the shot on Wemby more. James Harden, 16% owned by the field. I'm getting 8. So for Cleveland, I believe we still don't have an injury report out as of 2:11 p.m. Let me make sure it didn't come out when we started the stream. Oh, you know what? Fuck. They did get rolled out. Mitchell out, Harden out, Strus out, Jalen Tyson out, Dean Wade out. Those last two, not a surprise. Thomas Bryant out as well, but you'll get Mobley. You'll get Schroeder. There's another one's going to look different now. So that changed literally as we started the stream. Unbelievable. So James Harden, no longer a factor. I'll see if Stokastic updates while we're on stream. It would not be easy enough for me to run my AI minutes agent while we're on stream to get a guess at Cleveland. Without breaking everything while we're doing the stream. So I'm going to wait to see if Stokastic has an update. For right now, Harden, Mitchell out. So facing Memphis, that's going to be a dumpster fire. But Schroeder will be mega chalk. If I had to guess, Sam Merrill's probably to come up a good amount in the projections would be my guess. I'm actually just going to remove these guys right now. Mitchell out. And we'll look at the NBA Wowie as well to see who's producing best. That's Harden, Mitchell, Strus. I would think Jared Allen at 6,300 is going to pop. Evan Mobley at 8,300 going to pop a lot more at power forward center. Sam Merrill at 4,400, he will jump up a lot. Schroeder at 4K flat, he will jump up a lot. So there's going to be a meaningful change for Cleveland now with these guys being out. And let's just skip over him for now. Tyrese Maxey, 10K salary for him. Having Embiid and having Paul George, and not great stuff for Maxey, and it does seem like that's going to be the case today because those guys are not even on the injury report as Q tags. So matchup against the Spurs, which should be an interesting one. Feels like the kind of game Embiid would want to be ruled out of based on what his historical pussiness has been in some of these matchups. But Tyrese Maxey in this spot, I don't love him at a 10K salary. Think I'd rather go to pretty much everybody else on the slate. It's going to be much easier to pay down to a Schroeder now that he's opened up fully as a value. So for me, Tyrese Maxey, I think just a non-factor on the slate. But 5% ownership, I'm getting a 14% sim win rate. He does have a massive ceiling, obviously. If things break a certain way. But I just don't see how that construction is one you want to go to a lot. Especially if you're not putting in a bunch of lineups tonight, given how shitty the tournaments are for NBA DFS currently. Paolo Banchero, 8,900. You got no Franz Wagner, no Anthony Black, so a little bit of a better situation for him. That said, 42.6 projection for me, 40.2 for Stokastic. Gets me 17%. I have to think that's going to come down when Cleveland's updates fully matriculate as well as Detroit's. But Banchero, less competitive spot against Detroit than it would have been with some of the guys that are out defensively. Obviously, you still have Sar Thompson out there who can certainly make it tough on Banchero if that's the assignment he gets. But I think for Banchero, a little bit cheaper than he would be because of Franz and Anthony Black, or Franz having played lately. Anthony Black's been out for a while, obviously. But those guys being out today, I think Franz a little bit underpriced at 8,900. And Detroit situation defensively, probably not as good as it would be normally. Then Jalen Brunson just had a Joel Embiid amidst my last couple top projected guys. 41 fantasy points for me on Jalen Brunson, 41.5 for Stokastic. They're getting about 4% ownership. I'm getting the same number, basically. Jalen Brunson at 9,400. Hard to pay that price tag. But I would say for guys like Maxey and Brunson, even though they don't project super well, both guys, just a 4.4x value in my data. The fact the field now is going to get to so much of 4K Dennis Schroeder, you're just going on a different path by playing a Brunson type, playing a Maxey type. Because you're just going to a much more expensive point guard. Obviously, Schroeder, I have to think is going to sim incredibly well when that updates, but that's sort of the logic. I think if you do play Maxey and Brunson and they really pay off, they score 60 today, you might need to have them. And frankly, you might play them with Schroeder, but the ownership will be low for those guys because people just put Schroeder in and then play other guys in the rest of the spots. FanDuel wise, your top projected guys, Jokic, Wemby, because Jokic is on that slate, I guess. Jalen Duren, Jamal Murray, Denny Avdia, Jalen Johnson, Tyrese Maxey, James Harden, and Donovan Mitchell are your FanDuel top guys. We're going to sort by value now. Before we do that, quick ask. Please make sure to hit that like button and subscribe, guys. Really does go a long way for me here. I'm just one guy showing up doing the work. And days like today, where it is, I also have the baseball logo up. God damn it. Days like today, it's Easter Monday for our daycare. So I'm hopping between streams, parenting, as Luca's hitting the pickleball with paddle, so I had to do that for about 45 minutes between shows. Still doing the best I can to give you guys good work. Make sure you have as many updates as you possibly can for the ever-moving NBA beneath our feet, but show some love back. Please hit that like button. Please subscribe. It really does matter a lot, even though it feels like a vanity metric. It actually helps me get seen by more people, make more revenue. And that's the goal here on the channel. Stokastic, 15% off all their stuff. Link down below, or use promo code SPLASH when you get over there. Again, Google's AI thinks it's the best promo code out there, so why wouldn't you? Use that promo code SPLASH, 15% off all their data right now, weekly, monthly, yearly packages, any sport you want as well. So get that for yourself over at Stokastic, 15% off with that promo code SPLASH, SPLASH. And of course, my site, splashplaypodcast.com. That's the one you really want to go to. If you want to get all the data I show you here on screen, it's $40 a month, updated throughout the night as well. As some of you guys I know play lineups off the 2 p.m. version of things. Really would recommend not doing that. I do the best I can at 2 p.m., but the NBA changes so much. Vegas totals move. Players get ruled out left and right. Even the smallest player movement in terms of a guy getting ruled out can affect the entire slate. So keep your eyes peeled for updates for the NBA, for MLB, and for NFL as well with my Best Ball Champion tool, the only simulation product that is a draft assistant. So lots of good stuff at splashplaypodcast.com. You get it all for $40 a month at VIP, a little bit less for $20 a month Squirt Squad, but I think try to make sure you get adequate value on both those because I do appreciate you guys when you guys sign up over there and do support. All right, your top values. So Detroit, with no Duncan Robinson, all the various other Pistons being unavailable, Tobias Harris in particular. Kevin Huerter getting 30.5 minutes of my data. This is my AI agent minute running right before the show because I couldn't possibly update everything right before Detroit's guys. So had that pull on it. Stokastic might look different. They'll probably give Huerter like 27, something like that as a max. But I'm getting a 27.5 projection on Huerter. I think that with no Duncan Robinson, he should be the big minutes beneficiary right away. And no Tobias as well, I think increases the ceiling for his minutes along with the floor. So he's a good value at 4,300, shooting guard, small forward. The multi-position eligibility makes it easy to get him in. 19% owned by the field. I've got 49. I have to imagine that number holds. The field's ownership will come up, though, when Stokastic updates because this 19% number is before they ruled everybody out for Detroit. Karis LeVert downgraded to questionable here. If he doesn't go, he'll open up more minutes for your Ron Holland, I suppose, tier of guys, whoever else that they want to play back there. More security for Huerter and co as well. If he plays, though, Karis LeVert looks like a decent value if you give him 26 minutes. Detroit's rotation pretty short at this point with the guys that they are missing. 3% owned by the field. I'm only getting 2%, even with my projection being at 23 fantasy points. I think Huerter's a much better play. But I'd say if they both go, Karis LeVert kind of a pivot minutes-wise where if they don't like Huerter, don't like what he's giving them, maybe LeVert gets a few more minutes. Paul Reed, Jalen Duren's going to play, so Paul Reed could be okay off the bench. Duren was ill over the weekend. Now he's not in the injury report, so I'd assume he feels all better for whatever little maladies he's had. Paul Reed getting a 26 fantasy point projection for me on 20.7 minutes. It gets him in 38% of my lineups. The field's at 12. This stuff's going to move around, I think. I mean, really, Paul Reed will play every minute, most likely that Jalen Duren doesn't. So he should be getting about 21 minutes with Jalen Duren getting 36. I guess your one thing for Paul Reed, the benefit could be that maybe they play Jalen Duren less. It is noteworthy to have this many doubtful guys for Detroit today. I think it does signal that they're kind of calling off the dogs a little bit relative to them having that 1 seed clinched. So Paul Reed, if he gets more run, great. If Jalen Duren's ownership comes up a lot, I would consider Paul Reed if his ownership stays around 12%. Walter Clayton. So Memphis, you got Cam Spencer on the thumbnail today. Don't know who they're going to play. Their injury report, believe not out yet, even though that Cleveland one did. Let's see if there was a 215 that just came out. So let's see. Did Memphis did put out their injury report. So Ty Jerome out, Scottie Pippen out, Javon Small out. That's really important. John Morant, Meshack out. Edie, Clark, Kentavious Caldwell. Okay, all the usual guys. Hendricks, doubtful. Taj Gibson, doubtful. So yeah, Cam Spencer is going to hold here in terms of a value play. Walter Clayton will hold as a value play. Javon Small being gone is also going to make Walter Clayton look better. But Walter Clayton right now, broken in the data because of his name being fucked up. Stokastic uses like 3 different names for him, drives me nuts. But Walter Clayton, gonna be a guy that's gonna matter now at 4,400 facing Cleveland. Cleveland, not the best version of itself either, though you will have pretty good rim protection and defense with Mobley and Allen playing. But I think for Clayton now, hard to ignore him. Don't think he's necessarily the Grizzly we want to get to. We can look at the minutes real fast here. So yesterday for the Grizzlies, you'd see here, we had no Javon Small yesterday, no Coward, and it does look like Coward is going to play today, so that is a little bit different. But in this spot, we had Dariq Whitehead playing 39 minutes, Toby Okani, who's not in my sheet. Am I getting like fictional players here? Who the fuck is Toby Okani? You miss 1 day of basketball. Like, I don't look super close for Sundays. And Toby Okani, yes, did play yesterday, it looks like. He's also a Mountaineers guard. What are they doing, man? I mean, I know what they're doing is trying to lose. Dariq Whitehead played 39 minutes. That's what I really wanted to point to here. Lucas Williamson played 36. Walter Clayton played 25. This is such a fucking disaster. Max and Taylor Hendricks played 15. There's going to be minutes to go around for Memphis, obviously. For Memphis overall, Walter Clayton, I think, will matter no matter what. Right now, he's getting 26.7 minutes in the data. I think that might be too much. I feel like he should be again at 25, and that'll make him look playable at 4,400. But with Schroeder opening up, I'm actually not sure how much the Walter Clayton tier of guys will matter. He will project decently, though, because of the fact that Memphis has now done a bunch of bodies. But I think there's more upside in a guy like Dariq Whitehead, who is a gunner, who also shot terribly and has a limited amount of action so far. That'll get better from at some point. I think you got to play some Memphis stuff now with Javon Small out. Jalen Suggs coming up here a little bit. No Anthony Black, no Franz Wagner, 6,800. Should be a competitive game on their end versus Detroit. I have Suggs at about a 40-point projection. So Stokastic has him at 34. I think I've been getting a few more minutes. It's also part of why there. Fields at 20%. I'm getting 29. The one thing about Suggs that I would say is going to be greatly impactful to him is that Schroeder opening up as a value, with no Mitchell, with no James Harden. It's going to materially change things on the slate. It also does look like Stokastic pushed a minutes update. So while we're wrapping up this stuff, I am going to pull in that and try to get a read on things. Let me get the FanDuel minutes as well so we can resim that too. We're getting live updates here, guys, because the NBA will never let me not just have. Can I just have an easy time? Can we just cruise? The players are cruising. Like, nothing matters to the players right now because they've all their playoff spots clinched. They're just fucking hanging out for the most part. So that Spurs game was pretty competitive. Spurs Nuggets was pretty competitive. That's funny. Like, you have 5 to 10 teams really trying very hard right now in the NBA, and a bunch of teams just fucking jerking themselves off, just having fun with it. All right, there's the update. Push it to the Discord. Quick FanDuel sim here. We'll do the 10K sim version instead of 100K. All right, that's 3 seconds done. And we'll do the 100K sim for DraftKings. All right, Okongwu coming up as a value here. I don't think that's going to matter when we resort everything in a moment here. But Okongwu at 6K definitely seems underpriced for a no Jock Landale situation. Matchup, not great going against the Knicks, but the price tag for Okongwu seems comically low to the point that I'm actually going to double check. That's something to get imported incorrectly here. Yeah, he's 6K. That's crazy. That's crazy. If for a guy playing 30 minutes who's been a 1.08 fantasy point per minute producer, not the greatest matchup in the world, but that's just way too cheap for Okongwu. All right, there we go. There's the update. The sim run as well. Hold on. Sim finishing up. Patience for all of us here. Oh my God, the sim rates. Okay. All right, so now Dariq Whitehead getting 30 minutes of the data. He's now our top value. Jared Allen, 8x value. Sam Merrill, 8x value. Evan Mobley, 8x value. Jalen Duren, landing at a 59.4 projection for me with the way Stokastic is setting up Detroit's minutes. That seems crazy, but they are giving him 31.5 minutes. Are they shorting somebody minutes or something? Oh, they're only giving Paul Reed 17.5, so that's why. So they have him as a pure 48 minute split. But they've got Duren playing 31.5, Paul Reed playing 17.5. Okay. Yeah, I think my minutes agent might have given those two guys a little bit too much combined. That's an outlandish projection for Jalen Duren. I fully admit that. Even though Paul Reed getting 17.5 minutes, he also is popping up as a top value. 17.5 as the minutes projection right now. That gets him 28 fantasy points for me and 40% sim representation. Kevin Herter now in 56% of my sim winning lineups here. Yeah, and they didn't really juke the ownership too high for Detroit either. I feel like that has to be wrong, right? No, they didn't like touch the projections that much. They barely moved Jalen Duren. Well, this is my top values, guys. Again, sorry for the kind of nature of things moving around as we're talking, but trying to do the best I can here. On FanDuel, your top value, Jared Allen. He's power forward center as well. It's nice to be able to get him into 2 spots. Seems like the sim numbers didn't come through. Evan Mobley, that projection can't be right either. I think Stokastic might need to rework their minutes more, is my guess. But Mobley coming up pretty meaningfully for me here. Obviously, when you have no Donovan Mitchell, no James Harden, things are going to look a lot better for everybody. I don't think it's going to look quite that good for Evan Mobley when things update, but he's already 43% owned by the field. So Mobley popping massively in my data in a way that's almost certainly incorrect. Dariq Whitehead coming up here as well at 4,900. Not quite as cheap as DraftKings. Guy played 39 minutes yesterday, and I would say out of all the Memphis shitty players they've had lately, he can get his own shot. He can hit shots. Like, I think Dariq Whitehead is an actual legit NBA guy, even though he's not like a good one. Sam Merrill on FanDuel, Kevin Herter, Jalen Duren, Gigi Jackson, Dennis Schroeder coming up as top guys here. And Schroeder, only 25.8. What? They only gave him 15 point. They must not have updated fully for Cleveland either. It's got to be like a real half-ass partial update for Stokastic, I think. Or I just didn't grab it correctly. We'll try again here. Too many fucking moving pieces. I think there's also got to be some caching issue on my site right now. And I'll sort it out as we go, but the real-time nature of updating here is not my ideal. I'm going to pull this in one more time. Sometimes too, it's because Stokastic's thing doesn't update, so I might have just grabbed it. It didn't fully update, and I got to redo it. I think that would not be a crazy thing to see here. So let me rerun stuff. We'll go game by game in a moment, guys. Before I do that, I don't deserve the plugs. I don't deserve the likes. Please do hit the like button and subscribe again, no matter what's going on here. MDA slates, which like it sucks, man, because there's so little money right now for the amount of chaos that I have to deal with here. All right, we do have a full updated now. That's gonna look different. All right. No matter what's going on, I do the best I can to show you guys NBA data. Sometimes 2 p.m. is nice and solid. We've got a good read on things. Everything's updated. Sometimes 2 p.m. is making me want to smash my face onto things because I have to keep doing it live on stream. But we're doing the best we can as always. I appreciate if you guys hit that like button and subscribe so I can keep fighting the good fight here. And as the NBA makes my life misery. Stokastic, 15% off all that stuff that you're going to see at Stokastic. Promo code SPLASH gets you over there. Weekly, monthly, yearly, any duration of package. Get 15% off. Of course, idiot proof, great DFS lineups for you at your fingertips over at Stokastic. And really, the proof is in the pudding. Just look at your top 5, your top 10, your top 100, and any NBA DFS tournament in particular, but even MLB right now, PGA, NASCAR, you'll find Stokastic avatars. That's how good their tools are. NHL, so check it out. 15% off promo code SPLASH. And of course, SplashPlayPodcast.com, even though on stream it can be chaos. SplashPlayPodcast.com. The data updates, figures it out as we go. That's how things go here. Of course, I do the best I can to put together a competent website that also gives you some different bells and whistles. You're not getting another DFS providers or prop betting providers either. Like, my data will work for both. So check it out. SplashPlayPodcast.com. $40 a month for VIP, $20 a month for the Squirt Squad tier, and both will add value to your DFS process, whether you are a hand builder or you're using it, more intelligent, using my projections on a Stokastic sim, using the sim data to build more unique lineups on other providers. Lots of stuff you can do with my data will add value. All right, one more time here. One more time through value. All right, so Dariq Whitehead still coming up major. Dennis Schroeder now coming up hugely as well. I didn't rerun the sim yet. Karis LeVert coming up 2 now. 29% owned by the field, 7x value. Keon Ellis coming up at a 39% ownership clip. That's a crazy high amount for a guy like Keon Ellis, but you get how it happens given the situation that we have for Cleveland. Craig Porter Jr. coming up as well. He is a guy that seemingly earns a lot of minutes when we are in these shorthanded groupings, plays good defense, also can get more usage than he does sometimes when he's filling in alongside Mitchell, alongside previously Darius Garland. You'll see him play a lot of defense alongside those guys. When you get to the smaller groups, he'll get his shots up a little bit more, I think. So Craig Porter Jr., I don't mind at all. 3,400. Omax right now, very shorthanded Memphis team. Not a lot of bigs, so Omax coming up at 4,400. Naquan Tomlin coming up. Ron Holland coming up. Cam Spencer not too far behind either. And the sim just reran here. Let me give a hard refresh. And now let's go game by game. All right. Taking a sip of water, guys. Sorry. This is like so much to do on stream. I hate it. I want to have the data nice and functional before the stream so I know I can come on and like, I have full confidence in everything. But shit, not pulling correctly while you're doing stuff, never the ideal. All right, Knicks and Hawks here. Knicks might as well not be on the slate based on the implied total here. Ownership, what we're getting as well. Nobody above 10% owned. Josh Hart coming in 12% across my 100,000 contest sims that just ran 1 second ago on stream here. Jalen Brunson, 10% as well. Like, for sure, there's a ceiling for Josh Hart. For sure, there's a ceiling for Jalen Brunson. There's a ceiling for Cat as well, 9,300. But do you want to play these guys? I don't think so. On a slate, we're going to have so much better value opening up. We're missing key players for a bunch of players in that Cleveland-Memphis game. Key players for Detroit as well. So the Knicks, to me, one of those teams just kind of skip over on the slate. On the Hawks side, Jalen Johnson coming up 21% for the field, 25% across my 100,000 contest sims. I would get why. Could afford him much easier now, and he is one of very few players with a massive ceiling on the slate. So Jalen Johnson at power forward. Projection-wise, only a 4.7x value for me. Getting 36 minutes in the projections right now from Stokastic. But I do think Jalen Johnson, not the most exciting play in the world. If you told me I had 15% in the fields of 20, fine. If I have 25 in the fields of 20, fine. I just think he's a player I would like to get some of, in particular a 20 max and 150 max. But I don't think he's my first guy in. Okongwu, too cheap at 6K, especially knowing that he can play 35-plus minutes without Jock Landale, but they are adding some more bodies, so maybe those minutes stay closer to 30. But at 6K, just feels a little bit too cheap. Dyson Daniels also maybe a little bit too cheap at 6,500. McCollum appropriately priced at 6,200. Alexander Walker has a ceiling for sure at 7,100, but getting 17% the field is 11. I just don't think he's a priority on the slate, but should be. Again, Eastern Conference playoff caliber basketball with two teams that are, as good as anybody right now in the East. Detroit at Orlando, 223.5 over under here. Numbers have stabilized here with Stokastic's ownership. Get into my sheet and all my stuff here on the site. Kevin Huerter, 48% owned by the field. I've got 26%. So he's coming in low for me now, which surprises me, but we do have better values that have opened up. I think Huerter at shooting guard, small forward. 26.5 projected for me, 26.1 from Stokastic. I think he's a good play, but certainly if the field's at 48%, there might be lower owned options to get to. Ron Holland, the field's at 43% in Stokastic's data. I've got 21. So Holland not popping up quite as much for me. Jalen Duren, he's now at a more reasonable 47.8 projection, given the matchup and who's available for Detroit. Would say if we get Karis LeVert out, he'll look fractionally better, just losing one more guy with decent usage. But for Jalen Duren, I want to be at least with the field's 30%, I think, at 8,700. Karis LeVert looks okay for now if he plays. 29% owned by the field. I've got 32. In Detroit, so shorthanded. Anybody who's getting minutes looks okay. And Dennis Jenkins has been a slate breaker enough times lately at 7,300. Does feel like an uncomfortable price tag. I do think he's hit the ceiling a little bit more, but he's probably still due to shoot a little bit better. He does an unafraid usage player, I think, when you get to these smaller Pistons groups. And he creates some assists too, can get some steals. Tough matchup, I think, going against Suggs and whatever else they're going to throw at him. But I think Dennis Jenkins, 24% owned. It's hard to critique it with how he's played lately. And Paul Reed, minutes going to be a little bit lower behind Jalen Duren, but he'll play pretty much whatever minutes Duren doesn't play with no Isaiah Stewart out there. Paul Reed, I would say if you're worried about Detroit calling off the dogs, given how many guys they downgraded doubtful today, Paul Reed might get more minutes. But if the Pistons are going to play it straight in the total, they're a 3.5-point favorite at Orlando. Seems like they're playing it straight. I think you want to play Detroit straight as well, and it's probably not Paul Reed. There's better value on the slate today. Orlando, 110 implied points here. Big Hero coming up pretty big for me. Surprised to see that. 17% for the field. I'm getting 23. Suggs, 14% owned. I'm getting 30. Desmond Bane, 8% owned. I'm getting 22. Really thought these guys' numbers would come down a little bit, but no Black, no Wagner. Two things that do help out the Magic. Because they're now priced for life with Wagner back in, and him being back out, they're a little bit too cheap for it, even though just with the matchup and their total, I'm surprised to be getting that much. Cleveland and Memphis here. Again, everything is updated as can be based on Stokastic's most recent push here. Dennis Schroeder, 70% owned by the field. I'm getting 80. My projection, though, is at 35. They're at 39, so I'm a little bit lower than Schroeder. I have to adjust the rates, though, for no Harden, no Mitchell, so might come up higher on Schroeder than I am. Either way, though, if he's over 30 at 4K, he's a lock button play, basically. I would just put him in every lineup and not, if he fails, sucks, but that's salary if he's starting. I don't see how you just play him, I think, at that point. Keon Ellis, 4,300, getting a lot of minutes at Stokastic data, 38.5. What has he played lately? He's played 33 lately as a starter with Mitchell and Harden available. So I guess I get why they're giving him that much. It does feel hard to expect a guy to play 38.5 minutes. If I had to guess, Keon Ellis comes down a little bit here. But right now he's at 39% ownership. That gets him in half my lineups. I don't think he's as fun of a click as Dennis Schroeder, who I do feel like full confidence in at that salary. Evan Mobley at 8,300 should project well, though not nearly as well as he did for that moment here where the minutes were not updated correctly. That said, for Evan Mobley, 39 projections, Stokastic at 43. That's only getting 18% ownership for me. Do you think the rates, though, will look different? And actually, real fast, let's go to NBA Wowie, because we've had a lot going on here, but I want to get Cleveland right as best I can now that we know, for the most part, who's playing. Take off Harden. Take off Mitchell. Take off Garland. And let's see these guys here. We'll keep Tyson on and keep the sample size a little bit bigger. I hate when it doesn't catch every guy. Pause. All right. So 800 minutes for Craig Porter Jr., 0.97 DK points a minute. That's impressive. Jalen Tyson, 1 flat. Lonzo Ball, he doesn't matter anymore, 1 flat. Naquan Tomlin, 0.9. Evan Mobley, 1.4. Only 523 possessions, so about half of what we're looking for a stable rate. That's a massive number. Jared Allen, 1.4 as well in 450 possessions. Crazy usage and good assist uptick as well for Evan Mobley. Sam Merrill at 0.9. Dennis Schroeder at 1 fantasy point flat. You should probably have 2-3 Cavs today, I think, just given the matchup and who's not available now for Cleveland. Memphis on their side, 108 implied points. Dariq Whitehead popping massively for me here. I'm at 37.3 projections. Stokastic has him at 27. Both will make him look good, but they only have him at 4% owned. I'm getting him at 63. And this is with him shooting terribly. Whitehead does have a sample size in the NBA before, so I think my data's giving him that love, expecting him to get back to some resemblance of what he was previously on Brooklyn when he played. I don't know if he played for somebody else, but Brooklyn, I do recall him having a couple decent games. Obviously, Memphis' minutes can move around here. I do think Stokastic has updates some stuff as well. Like, the minutes will get tighter as the day goes on. But Whitehead played 39 minutes yesterday, so really no reason to expect him to play. Even 30 seems kind of light. But I do think for Memphis, not having Takoyaki or whatever the fuck, Toby Okani, not having him in the data right now, I have to add him myself to the player pool if he's not going to be on DraftKings, because it's another 30 to 40 minutes that somebody's going to play, even though the guy's not good, and that'll probably make Whitehead's projection come down a little bit. Stokastic, I have to assume, has Okani like playing minutes in the back end, and that's why my projections are higher for these guys. But I'll get to that. I think Whitehead, though, is still going to be in play for me at 4,100. GG Jackson, 15% play. I'm cool with that. Cam Spencer, I'm getting 36%. Fields, 26. I think that comes down. If I had to choose between Dennis Schroeder or our thumbnail boy, Cam Spencer, I would easily go Schroeder at this point with no Mitchell, no Harden. You think Memphis with Toby Okani now, too many bodies. That's basically it. Philly against the Spurs, pretty high total here with 237.5 implied points. Embiid, 22% owned by the field. I'm only getting 12 because my projection's about 2.5 fantasy points lower than Stokastic. Tyrese Maxey, I've got it 47.7 there at 46. It means I'm getting more Maxey here at 24%, Fields at 11. I do hate the matchup for Maxey, though. A lot of wing defenders they could throw at him that might make it uncomfortable. Paul George, 4.5x value. I've got 13% of him. Fields at 10. I mean, look, feels like a competitive spot. 8.5 point spread going against Philly. But I don't know, man. The Sixers, to me, never pop that much when they're at full health. The price tags, I think, are a little bit aggressive going against the Spurs here. But it's a high total, and it seems like the game is being treated as though it should be, like, again, competitive playoff-style basketball. Wemby, now 56% owned in the data. I'm getting 42% low on him. My projection's at 56.5, Stokastic at 58.2. I think he's making a really good MVP run here. Think the data's not fully accounting for that fact that he has probably pushed his usage a little bit higher in the last couple games. Don't want to be out in Wemby, but I think him being more than half my lineups with Duran on the slate, especially, I just don't think that would be the case for me. Stephon Castle, Fields at 25%. I'm at 34. Always like Stephon Castle in my data. My projection is about 1 fantasy point higher as well at 38.7. Stokastic at 37.6. I'd rather have him than Fox, rather have him than Dylan Harper. The both guys, I think, vaguely playable, Fox in particular. And that's the main slate here. So, all right, a lot of chaos in this slate so far in this video. I apologize for it, guys. Of course, a lot of stuff you can see here on screen. Actually, real fast, because I don't show this on screen enough lately. But all the data I get here, Squirt Squad tier for you guys. You get this matchup screen, the projection matrix as well. You get where you can update by my sim number here. You can see the projection, sort by value, all that stuff. Same thing for FanDuel as well. My Spags projections you also get with the VIP tier. You can export them, copy paste them, do whatever you want with them, really. Sim numbers here, you get my VIP tier. Minutes tab is Squirt Squad and VIP, where you can see all the minutes from the last 10 games, which is really important this time of year, given that some teams, as we've talked about, are playing hard. Some teams are not. So keep that in mind here, all the stuff you get when you are part of the Splash Play community. But here's your sim data right now before we hop over to Stokastic and run their sims. With all the updates here, let me make sure I got FanDuel as well, because I don't think I ran that again with the new data pulled in. We got Dennis Schroeder, makes 81% of my winning lineups across 100,000 contest sims. So like I mentioned, just relative to what the win rates will be, relative as well what you sort by sim number here. Like you've got him at 81%. Your next guy is Levert at 30, Jalen Suggs at 30. Nobody else in the slate besides Dariq Whitehead above 50. I guess Keon Ellis and Dariq Whitehead. Like I would probably lock Schroeder immediately on the slate and just get whatever I get around that. At 4K, he's too cheap. So right now his win rate at 81%. I would get more. Dariq Whitehead getting 63% sim representation for me. I think that's going to come down once I do update for Toby Okani, a guy who I shouldn't exist, but he does exist, unfortunately. He does take a little bit of production away. But I do think today for the Grizzlies, even though Cam Spencer's your thumbnail guy, I think Whitehead's your best Grizzly. Just because the minutes were huge yesterday, and he's on a 10-day, and he is a gunner. He's a gunner who's shooting terribly to start his Grizzlies career, and he should shoot less terribly as time goes on. Keon Ellis, 52% sim win rate. Sure. FanDuel-wise, just refresh to make sure it's all pulled in. Keon Ellis, 79% win rate. Dennis Schroeder, 77. Naquan Tomlin, 77. Where he's almost a minimum price, $3,800 on FanDuel. Guys who 5x the most on FanDuel, Tomlin, Dariq Whitehead, Dennis Schroeder. Guys who 6x the most, Dennis Schroeder, Whitehead, and Naquan Tomlin. On DraftKings, guys who 5x the most, I have Whitehead doing it at 100% of the time. That's going to come down when I update, so keep your eyes peeled for the post-show update. Dennis Schroeder at 99, Craig Porter Jr. at 97. Guys who 6x the most, Whitehead again, Schroeder again, Craig Porter Jr. at 83. I would say, again, with these rates being what it is, Schroeder 6xing 94% of the time, I would just lock him. It's easier just to play around. You got 7 spots today. That's how I would treat it. And that's my sims. Let's go to Stokastic, see what they have for us over there. Maybe another update as well. Who knows? All right, no new update, but actually that's MLB. Let's go to NBA. They do have a fresh update. Here we go. All right, cool. So we'll get a Stokastic update in right now, guys. Again, no interference from me on this sim, so we'll see what they have for us. Before we get to this part of things, guys, please do show some love. Hit that like button and subscribe. Really does go a long way for independent creators like me. Really, any channel you like, just hit the like button because it does mean they get seen by more people, helps them make more money and all that. For independent creators like me, especially where NBA DFS is getting fucking strangled by DraftKings and FanDuel. MLB DFS, obviously, we're doing videos there on the channel, but it's a brand new thing here. Your support means a lot here on the channel right now because I got to get the YouTube algorithm to understand that I'm doing multiple videos a day of different sports. So hit that like button and subscribe, and really does help out a bunch here right now. Of course, Stokastic, this very sim, if you want it for yourself when things update, check it out at Stokastic. Link down below, and then use promo code SPLASH, 15% off any package, weekly, monthly, even yearly. So get it for yourself over there and really make a difference in your DFS life right away. Idiot-proof, great DFS lineups. And my site, SplashPlayPodcast.com, a great addition to sites like Stokastic, sites like SaberSim. Run the Sims, I guess if you use that too, sure. But anything you use out there, use my data with it, or use it for hand building, stuff like that, over at SplashPlayPodcast.com. $40 a month for the VIP tier gets you everything across the NBA, MLB, and NFL. It's $20 a month for the Score Squad tier, gets you a good amount, though a little bit less than you do on the VIP tier, but you'll see all the data. You'll be able to make actionable decisions every single slate with my data, so check it out for yourself over at Stokastic. Fuck. Check it out at SplashPlayPodcast.com right now, and eventually I'll plug my own site correctly. All right, your top lineups right now, according to Stokastic, we got Dennis Jenkins, Karis LeVert, Asar Thompson. So very Pistons heavy to start. Naquan Tomlin, Wembanyama, Schroeder, Keon Ellis, Joel Embiid. So we do fade Jalen Duren here. We assume that production flows somewhere else, and that is Dennis Jenkins, LeVert, and Asar Thompson. You are not taking the chalky Kevin Huerter. So you're definitely getting Detroit, though, pretty heavy. Cleveland, pretty heavy. Number 2, Dennis Schroeder, Karis LeVert, Keon Ellis, Ron Holland, Jared Allen, Tyrese Maxey, Evan Mobley, and Joel Embiid. A lot of Embiid up top. Embiid in your top 3 ROI lineups. And Maxey's coming up in this one too. Maxey, Karis LeVert at number 3, Keon Ellis, Ron Holland, Okongwu. Think he's too cheap, but a little surprised to see him up here. Dennis Schroeder, Evan Mobley, Joel Embiid. This is so much Embiid. Number 4, Dennis Schroeder, Karis LeVert, Keon Ellis, Dariq Whitehead, Evan Mobley, Tyrese Maxey, Naquan Tomlin, and Wemby. And number 5, CJ McCollum, who I really don't think is much of a consideration on the slate. Karis LeVert, Keon Ellis, Jalen Johnson, Okongwu, Schroeder, Tomlin, Wemby. More Tomlin than I would have thought. Schroeder in every lineup. Yeah, Schroeder in every lineup. Not a surprise. He should be in every lineup. Your top ROI guys, Dariq Whitehead is 6% ROI, so Stokastic with me on him. Glad to see that. Keon Ellis, 3% ROI at number 2. Then Karis LeVert, slightly negative. Joel Embiid at number 4. Dennis Schroeder at number 5. Number 5 ROI guy, despite probably every lineup kind of exposure. Good sign for Dennis Schroeder. Your top exposed guy, Schroeder does, in fact, make every single lineup. Stokastic giving him 37.7 fantasy points over a 9x value. Yeah, they'll play that guy in every lineup and just hope that he hits. And if he doesn't hit, even if he puts up, let's say 25 on the slate, just given what that ownership will be, he's probably pretty likely to make a winning lineup. Number 2, Keon Ellis, 84% exposure. Field's at 44, so you're getting almost 2x the field on Keon Ellis. Another massive stand for a guy who they have playing a ton of minutes. Karis LeVert, 69% exposure. Field's at 30. He's cheap at 3,700. Obviously, with him being downgraded to questionable, he might not play today. Evan Mobley, 57% exposure. Field's at 38. I get it. I'm Mobley not popping up as much as I would have thought, but you need to adjust the rates. The fact he's putting up 1.4 fantasy points a minute in court time this year without Mitchell, without Mobley, without Garland, or without Mitchell, without Harden, without Garland. I think that bodes well for Mobley popping up a lot more in my data when I do update everything fully. And then Tomlin, 53% exposure. Fields at 38. Not the most exciting play in the world, but they've got him playing a lot of minutes, I presume, to get to a 27 fantasy point projection at 3,800. Your highest leverage play is Keon Ellis, 40% more in the field. Karis LeVert, 39% more in the field. Dennis Schroeder, 24% more in the field. He is in every lineup. Evan Mobley, 18% more in the field. He's in more than half your lineups here with Stokastic's top 150. And Joel Embiid makes 17% positive leverage here. Of course, he was in a lot of those top ROI lineups. Your negative leverage here, we got Kevin Huerter, negative 39% leverage on him. Big fade with him expected to be played by half the field. I do think that he's fallen for me as well, so I'm with that. Even though it does feel kind of crazy to be that low in a guy that, is mega chalk for a reason. Like, he's a pretty good value. And he's also just due to shoot better as a Piston, too. Like, he's been better as a Bull. Ron Holland, negative 22% leverage on him. Only 19% exposure. Fields at 41. I don't love Ron Holland. He's okay, but it's a lot of ownership for those two guys. So, again, I get moving away from it. It's a pretty big stand away, though. Sam Merrill, negative 18% leverage. I think you could take any Cleveland guy, and I wouldn't be mad at it, but you got to make your stand somewhere. They're only giving you 5% exposure in the field to 23. Cam Spencer, negative 15% leverage on him. Both I and Stokastic like Whitehead more at this point. And then G.G. Jackson, negative 12% leverage. Only 7% exposure in the fields at 19 for old G.G. here. All right, let's do a hand build. Oh, boy. We'll see how this goes. Got my MLB build from before here. Let's get rid of that. All right, large contest. 25 to first, I think is what it is. Who knows? Might be 20 to first, but whatever. All right. Pulling up the projection matrix here. Point guard has to be Dennis Schroeder right now. Obviously, he made every winning lineup. Stokastic would think less of us if we didn't play him. So let's get the good ROI with Schroeder here, who is projected way too highly for the salary he is at. Shooting guard right now. They could be Cam Spencer still for me. I've got him at a 36% win rate. Stephon Castle, I have at 34. I'll go Cam Spencer. We'll see how it sims out. Does seem like they knocked him down a decent amount, though, as a value, so probably won't help out the ROI. Keon Ellis, we know they like. I also like him. He's got a 52% sim win rate for me. Stokastic had him in 85% of their top lineups, as we just saw. Power forward would be Dariq Whitehead right now. Again, he is a gunner, and he played 39 minutes yesterday. Though I do think my projection will be lower when I account for old Toby Oconee. Center, highest win rate center for me would be Wemby. I have him at 42%. Jalen Duren, I have at 39, not that far off, but I might be able to play both here, so let's try that. We'll go Wemby at center. Go Duren at the utility. Guard and forward. Karis LeVert, Jalen Suggs, Castle. think it'd be Castle first for me at guard. That leaves us 5,200 left at forward. De Silva, Ryan Repair, Keldon Johnson. Let's sort by salary over here. 5,200 or less. Cam Spencer, Omax, I guess would be it. Leaving 800 on the table doesn't feel awesome, but oh, he's not a forward. I can't play Omax. Fuck. Kevin Herter? Too much money to leave on the table for Kevin Herter, I think. 900 on the table. This is going to be a negative ROI. The team here, Dennis Schroeder, Cam Spencer, Keon Ellis, Tariq Whitehead, Wemby, Castle, Herter, Duren, negative 20% ROI. Let's let it take out Spencer and Herter. Now complete the lineup. It goes LeVert and Asar Thompson instead. This might be positive. I hope it is. Oh, that's an 84% ROI. Wow. So I just really hated that 2v2, which I'm not surprised by. Definitely see. Oh, shit. I just kicked the camera. Seemed like they were low on Cam Spencer and low on Herter, so I'm not surprised. But 84% ROI for this lineup. Dennis Schroeder, Karis LeVert, Asar Thompson, Tariq Whitehead, Jalen Duren, Stephon Castle, Keon Ellis, Victor Wembanyama. So good amount of Spurs, some Cavs, some Detroit, some Memphis, and that's the slate, I guess, probably for a lot of people today. I'll give you guys my splash plays for the day. Before I do that, one last ask. Please make sure to hit that like button and subscribe. Of course, it goes a long way for me here. Even on this Easter Monday where all the schools are off, still doing the best I can to do that work. Probably right now I'm going to go outside and play some wiffle ball. So it's a lot going on for me here, but I do the best I can to give you guys great data for the NBA, for the MLB. Of course, I will do that as best I can every single day here on stream, but of course, more so at splashplaypodcast.com, which you'll hear more about in a moment. Stokastic, 15% off all their data, all their tools. Check it out for yourself with that promo code SPLASH, SPLASH, over at Stokastic. Google's AI says it's the best promo code, and are they wrong? Can AI ever be wrong? I don't think so. So check it out for yourself over at Stokastic. Promo code SPLASH will get you 15% off. And of course, my site, splashplaypodcast.com. If you know how to spell Splash, you can get over there too. Splashplaypodcast.com. All my data, all my tools for the MLB, for the NBA, for the NFL as well. My best ball champion tool. One thing I want to start streaming more because I think it is the I don't think it's the best tool in the space necessarily. The Sidekick's great, but I think it's the coolest tool in the space for what it does and gives you guys information wise. That's the kind of stuff I'm building for myself, sharing it with you guys at splashplaypodcast.com. So join on there. VIP tier, $40 a month. Squirt Squad tier, $20 a month. Both support the show in a very real way. So please go sign up. All right. Splash plays of the day. Schroeder, again, just to me, a lock button play. He sims too high, unless he didn't start or something, which he'll start. I would just play him. Keon Ellis, I feel less good about, but Tariq Whitehead, less good about, but I think those guys to me feel like 50% plays. They definitely are splash plays today. Wemby and Jalen Duren at center. Mobley's going to look better. Allen's going to look better when I fully update there as well. Castle, Cam Spencer, I don't know if he holds as a core play, but I think those are the guys I'll be rotating around the most. So those are your splash plays for the day. Make sure to gamble responsibly, guys, even though it is always money time here on this channel. I'll flash it. Follow me at Chris Spags. Follow this channel at Splash Play Bets on YouTube, at Splash Play Pod on Twitter. We'll tell you whenever I go live, even though I'm not sure if I'm going to keep the video running on Twitter or not because it doesn't do anything for me. So I might just make it a YouTube tweet again. But I'll figure that out. Either way, I'll see you guys again tomorrow for more. Check out my MLB video if you want to get in for there as well. $5 slate today with 50K up top. So should be a fun one. Did a really good take on that, hopefully, a little bit earlier today. But I'll see you guys again soon. Enjoy your days. Good luck. Bye-bye. And happy Easter Monday. All right. See you soon.